Hello everyone. Myself Dr. Snehalata Reddy, Assistant Professor of Physics, Pingal Government College for Women, Varangal. In the previous video lecture, we have started the magnetostatics unit and as part of electromagnetism. And yesterday we discussed about the basic concepts of magnetostatics, like magnetism, what is magnet, and field around it is magnetic field. So what is the properties of the magnet, what are the magnetic field lines, what are the properties of magnetic field lines, and also we discussed that we have established a relation between the B and H. B is the magnetic field induction and H is magnetic field intensity. So accordingly we expressed as B is equal to mu naught H, where mu naught is the permeability of free space or vacuum or air. Then we have also discussed what is permeability. Permeability is the physical factor which governs the magnetic lines to conduct through it. As well as we also discussed the magnetic induction. We have also established the relation for the magnitude of the magnetic field induction, like B is equal to F by Q naught V sin theta. So we expressed B as the magnitude of magnetic field induction as the ratio of the force to the force exerted on the positive test charge to the product of the charge and the velocity component normal to the magnetic field. So also we have established the relation for B as F by M. So where F is the force experienced by north pole of unit pole strength. So in that way we discussed the expression for magnetic field as B is equal to F by M, and we have also expressed the relation for B. We have found out the expression for B as equal to F by Q naught V sin theta. And what is that F? That is that we shall discuss in detail in the topic of magnetic field due to moving charges. So, and we have also expressed the some units for B also, as SI units as Tesla and CGS units as Gauss. And we have also established the relation between Tesla and Gauss as 1 Tesla is equal to 10 to the power of 4 Gauss. So here today we are going to discuss about the magnetic flux as well as important law in magnetostatics, Biot-Savart law. So what is magnetic flux? Let us see these are the glimpses of today's topic video lecture, and today we are going to discuss about magnetic flux and its units, Oersted experiment, as well as Biot-Savart law. Also we discuss about the difference between the magnetic flux and magnetic flux density. The magnetic flux density is nothing but magnetic field induction itself. So what is how it differs? Whenever we come to a concept of magnetic flux, we can express the magnetic induction in terms of flux also. So there we speak like magnetic flux density. So magnetic flux density, magnetic field induction, all the three are the same, and that is nothing but B bar, which is a vector quantity. So here let us discuss about magnetic flux first. So here we have already seen the concept of electric flux phi E in electrostatics, and we have established the relation for phi E E dot ds, integral phi e is equal to integral E dot ds, that is equal to E ds cos theta, and that is E into S, or if S is the area of the surface, we expressed phi E, the electric flux, as equal to E into surface, the electric field intensity into the area of the surface. So here the same is the concept of magnetic flux. So what is magnetic flux? Magnetic flux is nothing but the number of magnetic lines or magnetic field lines cutting through through a surface, or the magnetic field lines passing through a surface is nothing but magnetic flux. So it gives, naturally it gives the measure of the flow through the surface. So measure of magnetic field lines gives through the surface is nothing but the magnetic flux, and this magnetic flux is represented with phi b, as we represented electric flux as phi e. So here magnetic flux depends on three factors. So as seen in this, shown in this figures, here magnetic flux depends on field strength, it depends on the area of the boundary, and it also depends on the angle of surface. So it depends proportionally on all the three factors. So magnetic flux is proportional to field strength, magnetic flux is proportional to area, and magnetic flux is proportional to angle of the surface. So all the three factors, it depends. Magnetic flux depends on all these three factors. So here the first factor on which the magnetic flux depends is the field strength. More is the field strength, more are the magnetic lines of magnetic field lines through that surface. So we already discussed that if the field is more, the magnetic lines in field lines or more, we discussed it in the properties of magnetic field lines. So magnetic field lines, if they are thick, we say that the magnetic field is, the strength of the magnetic field is more. So in the same way, we say that if the field strength is more, then the magnetic lines of force or magnetic field lines are more. So the flux depends on directly proportional to field strength. So flux is proportional to density of the flow. Next, second factor on which the flux depends is area of the surface within the boundary. So the flux is proportional to area within the boundary. So if more is the area, more is the flux. Less is the area of the boundary within the area of the surface within the boundary, less is the flux. So the magnetic flux depends on the area of the surface within the boundary. And the third factor on which the magnetic flux depends is the angle of surface. So here the flux varies by how the boundary faces the direction of flow. So if the boundary faces is inclined to an angle, the flux is less. If it is along the flow of the magnetic field lines, then it is directly proportional, flux is more. So in that way we can say that the flux varies by how this boundary faces the direction of the flow. Next, so these are the factors on which the magnetic flux is depending on. So magnetic flux depends on the three factors. Sorry, what is happening? So I couldn't maximize this. So this is the some problem has arisen with my no, why all this? Okay, so this is the magnetic flux wherein it depends on three factors, that is uh, field strength, area and angle of surface. So these are the three factors. So we just now discussed that the phi b is equal to, it is phi b is the magnetic flux. Magnetic flux is directly proportional to b, it is proportional to area, and it is proportional to the inclination, that is angle of the surface. So in that way we can say that this depends on the three factors, therefore phi b is equal to ba cos theta. So it is because this is dot product, I can say this is phi b is equal to b dot a, and so this I can write ba cos theta. So here if I can write it in integral, if it is b dot a, if b is a vector magnetic field induction and a is denoted by axi plus ayj plus azk, if the dot product becomes bx ax plus by ay plus bz az. This is the magnetic flux. Then how I can write the some is problem. Okay, so this equation, this is flux phi b is equal to ba cos theta. Here flux phi b is equal to flux is denoted by phi b, magnetic flux. B is the field, magnetic field, a is the area, and theta is the angle. So I can write the units of this magnetic flux as phi b is equal to, we have just now written like ba cos theta. So here b has the units of Weber, and next a has the units of this is Weber per meter square, a has the units of meter square, and theta has the units of radians, but it is associated with a trigonometric function and hence no units. So the magnetic flux, units of magnetic flux, or Tesla meter square. So it is Weber per meter square into meter square, and hence it is Weber. So you can have the units of magnetic flux or as either Weber or Tesla meter square. The next is the Oersted experiment. So Oersted experiment is Oersted is the scientist who discovered that whenever a current carrying conductor around it a magnetic field is produced. If the around a current carrying conductor a magnetic field is produced, this was first observed by Oersted. So this is steady currents. That means the steady currents produces magnetic fields around it. So this is about our magnetostatics. So the next okay, here I have to give the difference between magnetic flux. We'll speak about Biot-Savart law depending upon this Oersted experiment. So next we'll discuss that. So this difference between, let me show the difference between the magnetic flux and magnetic flux density. So here see, magnetic flux is the amount of magnetic field passed through a surface, whereas magnetic flux density, it is the amount of magnetic field. Magnetic flux density is the amount of flux passing through defined area. So if I say that theta is 0, here if you see this, if theta is 0, magnetic flux phi is equal to Ba. So means if there is no if the area of the surface and the those are in the same direction, parallel to, then theta if it is 0, then I can say that magnetic flux is equal to BA. So from that I can write B as equal to phi B by A. So if it is phi B by A, that is nothing but B is magnetic flux density, B is magnetic field induction. So here magnetic flux density is nothing but the magnetic flux through a defined area. So it is magnetic flux density. So in that way, by means of definition, we can differentiate magnetic flux and magnetic flux density. So magnetic flux is denoted by phi B and magnetic flux density is denoted by B. So B is written as phi B by A. So this you have to remember. And the second thing is the units of magnetic flux. Just now we have discussed it as Weber or Tesla meter square, whereas the magnetic flux density, the units are Weber per meter square or Tesla. So the magnetic flux is a scalar quantity because it is a dot product of two vectors. Phi B is the dot product of magnetic field and the area, elemental area. If we consider it as elemental area, or the area is A, then those two are vector quantities. So I say that it is a dot product of two vectors, so it is a scalar. And here the magnetic flux density is a vector. Now speaking to about Biot-Savart law, just now we have seen an Oersted experiment. What is Oersted experiment? Current carrying conductor produces magnetic field around it. See here, conductor is carrying current I, and around it, that is a steady current. So around it, that means the charge is moving, and around that conductor the magnetic field is developed. So this was first observed by Oersted, and based on that experiment, that concept, we have to know two important laws. One is Biot-Savart law and another is Ampere's law. Today we are about to discuss is Biot-Savart law. So what is Biot-Savart law? Biot and Savart conducted series of experiments, and on the force exerted by an electric current on a nearby magnet, and they arrived at a mathematical expression that gives the magnetic field at some point in space due to current. So what is Biot-Savart law? So according to Biot-Savart, they have conducted many experiments and found out the magnetic field at some point in space due to this current carrying conductor. So let me show this in this figure. This is the one which is shown in black is conductor. It's a current carrying conductor. That is if that is divided into number of short elements, small current elements. So this is of length L, and the current passing through that is I. Then if this conductor is divided into small short current elements, one such element is of length dl, let one such element is of length dl, and here we are to find the magnetic field dB at point P. So we have to find the magnetic field dB at point P, so which is at a distance r from this elemental length of the current carrying conductor. So this angle between the elemental length and this position vector where we have to find the magnetic field is theta. Now see, this is Biot-Savart law. Here also once again I am showing the same figure. So we are taking current carrying conductor. The current through that conductor is I, and here we are to find the magnetic field dB due to elemental length, a short length of the conductor dl. So it is at a distance of r. This point is at a distance of r from the small element dl, that is point P. There we have to find the magnetic field dB. Now it is at an angle theta. So if r is the displacement vector, then here dB at point P due to small element dl of the current carrying conductor depends on some factors. What are those factors? Those factors are I, dl, sin theta and r. So this dB depends on dB at point P due to small element dl of this current carrying conductor depends on some factors. Those are I, dl, sin theta and r. So the magnetic field dB at point P due to elemental length dl is directly proportional to I, current through the conductor, and the second factor on which dB is depending is the dB is directly proportional to elemental length of that conductor dl. So dB is directly proportional to dl, and the magnetic field at point P is directly proportional to the sine of angle between the elemental length and the position vector of point P. Therefore dB is directly proportional to 1 by r square, and dB is directly proportional to sin theta, and dB is also directly proportional to 1 by r square or inversely proportional to square of the distance of the point where we have to find the magnetic field due to that elemental length. So if you combine all these factors, dB is directly proportional to I, dl, sin theta by r square. Therefore I write this as dB is equal to mu naught by 4 pi I dl sin theta by r square, and this mu naught by 4 pi is a proportionality constant, and that is yesterday we discussed. It is equal to mu naught is the permeability of the free space or air or vacuum. So it is mu naught is equal to 4 pi into 10 to the power of minus 7 Weber per ampere meter. So if you want to find the resultant field at P, that can be obtained by integrating dB. So if you integrate dB, you will get the resultant field at P. So this is all about the Biot-Savart law. Tomorrow we shall find some applications of this Biot-Savart law. Thank you.